You're listening to the Aha Moments of Success podcast, an audio journey to your success.
And welcome to Aha Moments to Success podcast. I'm your host, Anita Heidema. This podcast is about helping you stop stressing and start successing. Successful entrepreneurs share their life and business events and aha moments that have transformed their lives into their dreams. Hello. I hope everyone's having a wonderful day today, and welcome to the Chef Series for Aha Moments to Success. You know, those of you that have followed me, you know that life is a journey, and still working with entrepreneurs and executives. But my life has done a little bit of a turn, and I'm working more into the culinary world. And it's interesting how my clients have changed a lot, and some of my inspiration has changed a lot. And the culinary world has been open to me. And so hence why I've started the Chef Series for Aha Moments to Success. Because I've realized that, you know, these incredible people that are so creative, opening up restaurants and being in the culinary world is not always the easiest to be able to accomplish. And there's so much to learn from these wonderful men and women out there that have dedicated so much of their time to feeding us, to opening up our palates and our lives to a new world. It is something new that has expanded for myself, for those of you that have followed me. And it's very fascinating working alongside with Passions Cooking with a lot of these creative individuals, being with Dario, of course, as a chef, and understanding the way they think and the way things work in the culinary world. But also on a business side of things, it's so exciting to learn and to see how they work. A lot of clients now that I have are chefs and creating restaurants. So it's getting that work-life balance back in their life, being able to run a successful business and what that is moving forward. So hence why I've started the Chef Series of Aha Moments to Success, because it is quite exciting understanding what makes them tick, what makes them successful and growing in today's world. So today I've interviewed Chef Ernesto, who is running the Don Alfonso group of restaurants. Don Alfonso started in 1890 with his grandparents, and you know, he's a bit of a different chef than some of the others that I have reached out there to meet and that I will be interviewing. Because not only is he a chef, but he's also trained himself in the business world. I mean, he worked in Milan for Price Waterhouse as an auditor, financial statements. He trained himself in Naples and a university there. So he has the creative side, but he also has the business sense and understanding how to run a restaurant. And from what I've experienced out there, you need to have both, and that's why when I've seen that you use the creative side to create those meals, but also have that business sense on how to run the business and how to be successful, it is very important to be able to have those both to be successful in the industry. It's really interesting talking to Ernesto with all his experiences, his aha moments, and as he gives 3 tips to help you move forward as an entrepreneur and executive in creating so much more in your life and what needs to be done. So I'm interviewing from the Amalfi Coast, which is so exciting, much warmer than where it is here right now. And, you know, it's really interesting speaking with him and getting his insights and aha moments moving forward and where he's gone. So I hope you enjoy the Chef Series of podcasts that will be coming out with Aha Moments to Success, and looking forward to bringing out more for you and learning more about these wonderful chefs and these wonderful restaurants. So I hope you enjoy and have a wonderful day. Here we go. Hello, Ernesto. I'm so happy we have you here with us from the Amalfi Coast.
Thank you. And today was a fantastic sunny day. Spring is starting, even here. Lucky day.
What was the temperature today?
Today was during the day 24.
Wow.
Maximum.
Wow. For us it was -1 degrees.
Mamma mia.
And we still have snow outside.
Oh, charming.
So Dario and I are very much looking forward to coming to see you in September.
I look forward to.
Yeah. So, Chef, we wanted to have you on today because, for me, I'm very fascinated with the food industry recently. And just a few months past, I got a chance to experience your cooking at Don Alfonso in Toronto. And I don't know if it was because you were cooking that day in the kitchen and they're from Italy, or if it's always like that, but the food was exceptional. And I was just so fascinated as I'm growing in my culinary world. I think I mentioned to you that I didn't really know much about food. It was just, having nutrients on a table. And now, being with Dario and experiencing food like you've come up with, it's like a whole new world for me.
Thank you. First, thank you for the compliment. But to be honest, we have a very, very good team in Toronto, and they are delivering really great service. I am quite very happy for what they are doing there.
Yeah. Well, I think the restaurant, what you've partnered with Liberty Group, and the restaurant, not only is it gorgeous, but the food is exceptional. I know Dario knows some of the chefs that are working over there too. I think he's trained and worked with some of them.
Yes, few of the guys in the staff, they come from Dario, and that's great. I hope that he will send me some guy even in Italy, because you have a great school, and the college you have there for culinary are very, very serious, and people that they work are very passionate. So it would be nice even to have some of the guys even in Sant'Agata. We will have fun.
Well, Dario would love that. I mean, I know with the program that we're going back in September, there's a lot of chefs that will be graduating and would be so honored to work for your restaurant in Amalfi Coast and all over the world, because you've got restaurants not only in Toronto and Amalfi, but you've got them in New Zealand, right?
Yes, we just opened 3 years ago in New Zealand, and China. This is starting the 12th years in China, in Macau.
Wow, that's so exciting. And I also heard that at each location you grow your own food.
Yes, in the first items of Don Alfonso, the first target of Don Alfonso is that we start from the ingredients. So, or we, as in Toronto, we select the top organic producer of the Ontario region, or we do by ourselves, we grow our ingredients, as we do on the Amalfi Coast. So normally we start from that, because we believe that people are what they eat. So what we eat, the quality of ingredients we eat, that will affect our social life, will affect, we believe, even our disease. We can try to control this starting from the ingredients. And imagine that only 10 years ago, the scientific community was considering that the food and the environmental where we live were affecting our body only for 10%. Nowadays, they are thinking that 32% of our well-being depends on where we live and what we eat. So imagine how important this is for the body, for the people. And this is a key point for Don Alfonso, because we start from that. Then you can love or not the food, but when you come in Don Alfonso restaurant, first thing, we take care of our guests in terms of their healthy and in terms of their social life, because if you keep slimmer, you have a better social life. So it's all around the people, the project of Don Alfonso, of the food of Don Alfonso.
Oh, I love that. And, sustainable food is so good for your country, because you're buying local, which is helping to support your local suppliers. It helps with the taste of the food. I mean, I know, being in Italy, we've been to a couple suppliers and farms out there, and the tomatoes and the buffalo mozzarella is just this unbelievable.
The heritage that we have in our country. We don't have oil, we have this heritage, and we're lucky to have. So the food, I mean, the little producer, they make stunning ingredients for us in Italy or in Toronto as well. Because another key point of our food is we try to understand the best ingredients we have in the place where we open. We don't want to be blind. We want to understand first where we are, and then if we don't have a stunning ingredient, so only in that case we will import from Italy. But I fell in love with the black cod in Toronto, or the king crab, or the mushrooms. You have fantastic mushroom. And even what you said, the sustainability, it's really key words for the next generations. For us that we are chef now, we have to try even to show that there is a way to eat that is sustainable. And in fact, we have a menu that is all vegetarian in Toronto.
Nice.
You can have 2 menus. And because we want to try to make the attempt to make people happy with the bag.
Yeah, beautiful. Yeah, no, I know when speaking to you at Don Alfonso in Toronto, when we had our time there, you were talking about how you were creating recipes and designing recipes around the Canadian food. So one of the things that I really loved was the bison. Bison that you created.
Fantastic. So that meat, I love that meat.
Yeah.
No, the bison, how come out that recipe?
Yeah, it was beautiful. I mean, what made you decide to come out with it like you did? I mean, it was so delicious.
Well, it was a funny story to tell, because I was in New York one night, late night, and I wanted to feed myself. And, tough center of a city for a guy that really thinks food is so important, to find something to eat. So I saw outside the burger pub organic bison from Canada hamburger.
Oh.
I went in, I ate this hamburger, I ate that hamburger, and I felt totally loved. So when I went to Toronto, first thought was I want to use the bison in one of my recipe, and it's there now.
Had you ever cooked with bison before?
No, first time.
Oh, beautiful. And it's funny how these inspirations come from all over the world. All of a sudden something will hit you and you wouldn't realize it. I mean, we're all learning every day.
Yeah, but if you love something, every day you are inspired from what you live. So it's normal. It's our way of living, because we are done for the food, and we totally live for the food.
Yeah. So, your business, I mean, Don Alfonso's been around since 1890, is that right?
Yes, that is the age when my great-grandfather started exactly in this location, a pension. So they ran the pension for around 1 century. And in the 1973, my father said, no, I want to give up the hotel. I want to do a restaurant. I want to do a restaurant that can tell something, no? And so he started, at that time, we are talking of 1973, all the culture in Italy was biased by the French cuisine. So he started to say, no, we have 3,000 years of culture in this part of the world. Why we don't start from our old traditions, and we built up our identity? And imagine for the Canadian people, for the Americans, there were lots of immigration during the wars, across the wars, beginning of the 20th century. Imagine when they came here and trying to have a high-level restaurant, telling their story, the story, because the majority of the immigration came from the south of Italy, and they found their recipe translated in a modern way, and so they can recognize their memory of the childhood, and that was one of the key of the success of this restaurant.
Beautiful. I don't know if I ever told you the story, and I probably didn't, but my parents, they immigrated from Holland many years ago. Yeah. And I went to the actual location in Canada. It's in Halifax, Canada. It's called Pier 21. And many of the Italian immigrants and the Dutch immigrants and a lot of European immigrants had immigrated there to Canada. So I went to go see where my parents had come in on the boat. And one of the stories was a lot of Italian immigrants had come in with their suitcase and their luggage. And most things in their luggage was food. So they had their salami, they had their bread, they had all of that they came in. So their luggage was full of food. It wasn't full of clothing, which is kind of funny. But what happened was when they got to the Canadian border, they would not allow them to come in with this food. So they confiscated and took away the food. And it showed the Italians and how sad they were that all their stuff was confiscated. And the Canadians actually, they were giving them meat in a can. And they were saying, no, you can eat this. So can you imagine the Italians thinking they're coming to this new world of possibility and their food taken away from them? That's their life. It was quite something to see this, and I went with Dario to see it, and he was quite fascinated as well, that this was taken away. But because for Italians, food is their passion, is their life, and
true.
So you've had this family business for a long, long time, but you've also made that decision to get into the family business. Now you're a chef, a Michelin star chef, and you've also got your business degree, which is phenomenal. I mean, there's so many other things that you could have done. What made you decide to stay in the business?
Well, when I was young, I was good at school, so I went on. I got a degree in economics, and but as how can I explain? Because because my first thought in the morning was the food. What I'm gonna get for food, lunch, dinner. So I was obsessed by food. The degree and all I did was just because I was good. I didn't want to stop to study, but I didn't want to compromise on my future business. So during the weekend, I used to study. During the weekend, I used to work in my restaurant, and over the week, I used to study at school. So I finished it both, and now I'm quite happy. Even though, because imagine when you talk with a top manager and you need to do a contract. Now he's helping to open around the world, but I didn't compromise on my job as a chef because I wanted to do it since I was quite a child. So hard work, and now I see guys of 20 years, they don't want to go to work, they don't want to go to school. I get really upset because I said, come on, people can do both easily and can be very happy. Why you should compromise on everything just to have free time? Free time you can have when you're going to get older. It's no way when you are very young, because when you are very young, you can even waste your time. Whilst if you work and go to school, you don't waste it. So, it's something that I was taught by my parents to work hard since I was a boy. So perhaps it's a culture, or it's just family matter. But there are many young guys of 20 that they give up after a week that they stay in a kitchen. And this is sad for me. This is one of most sad things that I see.
Yeah, I think, and from what, speaking to, because some of my clients are chefs, and, speaking to friends of Dario and many of the students that come through, I find that people always think that there's a quick fix out there, that, all of a sudden they say that they're cooking and that they're going to be some type of a famous chef, but it has to be your passion. You have to be able to explore. You have to try new things, and you have to work in it for a time period. For you studied business and you worked your whole life in the food industry. And from what I understand, you had a real passion for chemistry as well, which probably added to you and your creative dishes that, because there's so much more to making a meal than putting it on a plate. There's so much about texture and flavors and that makes your mouth explode that many people don't understand. And people, I think nowadays, I don't know if it's laziness or it's a society that people think that everything is so quick and it happens so fast, and it's not always the case.
This is really another big problem, because to reach some levels takes time, takes years, and really, it's not a matter. If you love something, you don't feel the long hours, you don't feel the heat in the kitchen. You don't feel anything. But it's not an easy way, and it's not an easy path at all. You need to, well, if you love, it's easy, but if you don't, that's why I think you have to love something that you do. Otherwise, it's impossible, because every day you learn. You go for a sandwich outside in New York and you invent a dish. I mean, because your mind is always oriented to do your business and your job at the best level. Because I think that when I eat, I feel like when I eat a good food, I feel like I'm in the oven. So I want to give this feeling to the people that they come in my places, and this is the things that drives me every day. That when I wake up, I want to give the best. I want to try to do the best, and this happens luckily every day. The day that I will not wake up with this light in my heart and in my mind, I will stop to make this job.
Yeah.
I will do another job.
Oh, that's so beautiful. And I mean, everything that you've created, and I'm so looking forward to coming out to Amalfi in September. But everything I've tasted so far, you can tell, you can feel your passion in your food. You can feel the creation of the recipes. And I think there's a lot of, well, I know, and I've experienced it, as I've been developing my palate, there's a lot of bad food out there. There's a lot of food that's just been created that is unhealthy for you, but it just gives you that quick stimulation, and it's not even that flavorful. And people are so used to poor food, and then when they get to experience something that you've created, it just opens up their eyes to a whole new world, and the passion that you show in your heart for your food, it comes out for sure, and everything that I've tasted so far that you've created.
Thank you.
Yeah. So I love your story that, you've always thought about what you're going to have for breakfast, what you're going to have for lunch, and what you're going to have for dinner. So your whole world has always been around food. Yes.
But funny, I told my wife, you're going to be second only to the food. So be relaxed. I don't take care about ladies. I don't care about gambling. Just food and sport.
So that's all she has to worry about is food.
Yes.
That's beautiful. I'm looking forward to meeting her. No, Dario's the same way. I mean, you hear the stories of him when he was cooking with his grandmother in the kitchen and the first restaurants. I mean, it's the life over there. And I think some of that is missing in North America. A lot of people, they order in food quickly. They don't sit down and enjoy their meal. They don't sit down to really experience the flavors and have that enjoyment anymore. So I think it's great that, your restaurants, I mean, they're number 2 Michelin star as well, but they create that whole concept about healthiness and sustainability and good food,
Yeah, we try.
Yeah. Oh, I think it's great. Anyway, so we're gonna cut off in a little bit, but I wanted to get from you first, what are your 3 tips for listeners out there? People that that are kind of lost and entrepreneurs, chefs, business owners, that they want to be able to move on, and what would you do to inspire them?
Well, one tip could be always dream, and sometimes reality can overcome the dream.
Oh, that's beautiful. Yeah, so I think a lot of times if you dream, those dreams come true for sure. If you just keep on that goal, right?
Yes.
Yeah, beautiful.
And if I have to say another tips could be the most important ingredients in the kitchen. This is connected to the kitchen is the heart, because it means that you're following your passions and live your life following your passions.
Yeah. And when you go to a restaurant, I find, and I guess with anything, your heart's going to help you, but especially in a restaurant, you can see those chefs and those people that are inspired and they want to learn and they want to grow and create phenomenal things. You can tell that their heart's in it,
Yeah.
And do you have a third tip?
Yes, I try. Our concerns do not come from thinking about the future, but for wanting to control it.
Oh, that's nice. So it's living in the moment kind of thing?
Yeah, kind of living the moment, but sometimes we are too much. Some of the worries that we get is because we don't trust what is the life, what is the reality. Sometimes reality can be much, much better of what we imagine. And our attempt to control the future, no, at any cost, it will cause some, sense of anxious.
Yeah,
something like-
anxiousness. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
And
another.
this is, if you live the present, the moment, and you just take the life for what she's giving to you, it's, I think, fantastic.
Yeah. I guess not to worry about the future, but just in the moment, do your best that you want and live from the heart and keep dreaming, and everything will work out.
For sure. For
Yeah.
sure.
Oh, beautiful tips. Beautiful tips. I love it.
Thank you.
Well, thank you so much, Ernesto. And I wish I was in Amalfi Coast with you right now.
Me too.
It's a little cold here in Toronto, but
Now, you know what I have? My staff in front of me, they made their own pizza. So now I join them to eat my dinner with them.
Beautiful. That's so great.
Thank you.
Well, thank you so
Big
much,
hug.
and we'll see you in September. And I really appreciate your time.
Thank you. I look forward.
Okay.
Ciao.
Ciao, ciao.
Ciao, ciao.
And that's it for today's episode of Aha Moments for Success podcast. Thank you so much for joining in. I appreciate all your comments and all you do. And as a thank you, I want to offer you our Rich Life and Business download. It helps you get clear and focus so you can sit down and really focus and plan what that is that you want in your life and business. Be the author of your life. You go to anitaheidema.com/richlife. ANITAHEIDEMA.com/rich, RICHLIFE, one word. It's a free download for you and a thank you. Again, I'd love all your comments, anything you'd like to share, or any way in social media that you can bring this to other people that might get any kind of insight and help from these podcasts. I'd really appreciate it. Thanks for joining my guest and me for this week's journey to success. I'm Anita Heidema. Talk to you next time. Ciao for now.